Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sacramento. As I look out at this view, I've never quite stood right here and looked at the view of this streetway towards the Golden Bridge, and I think it's replicable of California as a great state. This beautiful view. So it's good to be here this morning. And in a great state like California, we have an important topic to talk about this morning, and it's a topic about the things that are probably most precious to us. The youth of our state and the future of our state. My name is Don Ulrich. I'm the current chair for the Coalition for Adequate School Housing, and I'm the deputy superintendent for Clovis Unified School District. And first I want to say, as an administrator and educator, I started as a teacher and a school site principal. I believe educating our youth is really society's most important role in sustaining the health of our communities. And to fulfill that noble endeavor, it is my strongly held belief that every student and teacher deserves a clean, safe, and a quality environment to work in. Without such a learning environment, students are at a disadvantage, and research shows that they do not perform as well academically. Research also shows that access to quality learning environments has a significant impact on teacher job satisfaction and retention. To achieve this goal for districts across the state, Prop 51 was approved by the voters last November to provide state matching funds for building and renovating older classrooms. Prop 51 authorized the sale of $9 billion, $7 billion for K-12, and $2 billion for community colleges across this large and diverse state. Right now, there are more than $2.4 billion in applications waiting for state matching funds. The voters' will and the needs of California students and teachers means that the state should be selling Prop 51 bonds at a pace required to meet the need I just identified, $2.4 billion in need. However, and this is a big however, 10 months after Prop 51 passed, no bonds have been sold to date. Approximately $400 million is scheduled for early fall, maybe next month. At my district alone, Clovis Unified School District, we've applied for more than $61 million in state matching funds, some of it new construction, but most of it to modernize older schools, renovate schools. I call it renew schools to the 21st century. Districts have invested in these projects and promised their communities that they would be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. That's why it is important that districts, both large and small, can assure their communities that state funds are coming and will, not maybe, they will be quickly put to efficient use to serve their students. And our hope today, and it's a big hope, is that the administration and the legislature can work together to prioritize funding these important school construction projects. Our constituents across California voted for it. They passed it. Our kids, our teachers, they need these bonds to be sold. And they deserve to do their work, their important work, teachers and students. They deserve to do that work in quality facilities, just as all of us standing here would expect to do when we go to work every day. So, next year's budget and spring bond sale are important opportunities to invest in learning environments in our schools across this great state. So I'd like to introduce now a longtime champion with supporting the partnership between the state and local districts. She has a vast experience as a former school board member, a state lawmaker, and a member of the State Allocation Board. It's my pleasure to introduce Assemblywoman Joan Buchanan.
Thank you, Don. I was telling Don earlier that it's a good thing that they sent me some talking points, because I probably would not be quite so polite in my comments if they hadn't, because there really is no excuse for us to find ourselves in the position we're in today, especially in our great state. But let me just start out by saying that school facilities play an important role in preparing students for careers in college in a fiercely competitive global economy. You can all see, you can look around, you can read the news, that people who don't have higher learning skills, who don't have some college, who aren't prepared for the new workplace, simply find themselves unemployed. They find themselves unemployed whether they're 20 years old or whether they're 50 years old. So education is more important today than it's ever been in the history of our state or our nation. Voters understood this importance and passed Proposition 51, a statewide ballot initiative to replenish a state program that provides state matching grants, which are critical to school facility projects. Local schools have a huge need to add classrooms, to alleviate overcrowding, and repair and update school buildings. Believe it or not, many are still 50 years old or older. State matching grant funds also will be invested in vocational education and career pathway facilities, from high-tech and medical sciences learning programs to engineering and other high-paying career programs. Before Prop 51 was passed last November, it had been a decade, 10 years, since voters had an opportunity to pass a statewide school facilities bond. Conservative estimates placed projected statewide schools facilities needs at more than $20 billion over the next decade. The lack of state funding resulted in a multi-billion-dollar backlog of school projects that have applied for and are waiting for state funding. The current backlog now stands at more than $2 billion worth of projects. Yet, it has been nearly 1 year since Prop 51, which will provide districts with $9 billion worth of state matching grant funds, and none of the school bonds have been sold. With past bonds, we saw an average of $2 to $3 billion in authorized bond sales per year, $2 to $3 billion per year. In contrast, it was already mentioned at the end of 2017, the state will only have authorized $400 million in school bond sales, and they have not sold those bonds yet. Just more than 4% of what voters approved. At this pace, it could take up to 10 years to fully commit Prop 51 funds. With potential interest rates and construction costs rising, this would be an expensive and an inefficient approach to matching the funds that our districts, local districts have. It also would mean that almost a generation of students, think about that, a generation of students would pass through schools that are old and need repairs and updating. This is not what the voters intended when they passed Prop 51. In fact, and this is Joan speaking, when our governor ran in 2010, he said no new taxes without the approval of the voters. Well, the voters approved Prop 51 by a significant margin. They believe that education in California is important. They believe that our school students should have safe and adequate facilities, facilities that will educate them and give them a 21st century education. So today we're calling upon the legislature and the administration to recognize that infrastructure investment, building and revitalizing schools, is good for both the economy and it's good for students. By increasing the pace of authorized school construction bonds, school districts gain fiscal certainty. More shovels are put into the ground, and students and teachers get the classrooms they need to promote better learning. I'd like now to introduce Lisa Gonzales, President of the Association of California School Administrators and Assistant Superintendent of the Dublin Unified School District, a district which I had the honor of representing when I was in the Assembly. Lisa.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Gonzales. I'm the president of the Association of California School Administrators and the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services in the Dublin Unified School District. School districts throughout California have partnered with the state for more than 3 decades to fund school construction projects. Since 1998, this successful partnership has overseen the construction of new classrooms for more than 1.3 million or more children and modernized facilities for more than 3.4 million. The current model of funding construction also levels the playing field for school districts that serve lower income communities, allowing high-need school districts to leverage every dollar that they invest. Many of our members have worked hand in hand with their communities, asking their neighbors and their families to invest in local school bonds so they can access the matching state grant funds through the school facilities program. So when voters approved Proposition 51 last fall, districts across the state were relieved to learn that they wouldn't have to wait any longer to receive their state grant funds, to which many projects and school districts depend. My district, the Dublin Unified School District, is waiting on $28.8 million in state matching funds for the construction of Amador Elementary School. As the second fastest growing school district in the state of California by 1,300 students a year, we need to build at least 3 more schools in the next 7 years to accommodate our increasing student population. Further, we are eligible for another $30 million to complete repair and modernization work on a number of our campuses. In Alameda County alone, 3 districts, including Dublin Unified, have submitted more than $46 million in state matching grant fund applications to fund renovations and upgrade to classrooms and campuses. Because the state has been without this money since 2012, many school districts have been waiting on state matching funds for the past 5 years. That is why it is so important that the Department of Finance to see the spring bond sale as a critical opportunity to meet the current demand. We thank the Department of Finance for scheduling the initial $300 million or so that is tentatively authorized for the bond sale this fall. It is our sincere hope that moving forward, the department will start authorizing school bond sales at the size and pace of what school districts need to serve their students, their teachers, and their communities. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nancy Titus Espinosa. I serve as an elected member to the Elk Grove Unified School Board and as a legislative advocate with the California School Boards Association. As my colleagues have stated, high-quality learning environments are good for students, good for teachers, and good for communities. In addition to their educational purpose, public schools also serve as the hub of their communities. Oftentimes, they're gathering places for community-based organizations, for sports teams, and they provide before and after school care outside of regular school hours. Children learn what a community values by seeing how it takes care of its school buildings. Do we value a child's ability to access technology that can personalize their learning experience in the classroom? Are their classrooms equipped and designed to support today's rigorous hands-on science curriculum? Are their play places safe, clean, and well-maintained? That's why investing in school facilities is so important. Why, as a school board member, I was an active supporter of Proposition 51. My district, Elk Grove Unified, has seen tremendous growth in the past decade. We are expected to reach an enrollment of 65,000 students by the year 2020, and we are currently the largest school district in Northern California. We've applied for more than $40 million in matching state grant funds and are eligible for up to another $291 million to build new schools to accommodate our continuing enrollment growth in the years to come. It's the same story for school boards throughout the state. Investing in the infrastructure of education is critical. Quickly receiving Proposition 51 bond funds for many districts means a difference between putting shovels in the ground and addressing the long overdue infrastructure needs at older campuses, or making yet another generation of students wait for the kind of schools they deserve. We are educators, school board members, and administrators, so of course we understand that tough choices need to be made when making budget decisions. But we're here today to make our case to the legislature and to the governor's administration that school facilities are a worthwhile investment. As they move forward during the legislative recess with budget discussions, we are encouraging policymakers to consider quickly eliminating the backlog of applications and to move forward with a steady, efficient pace of school bond sales to provide fiscal certainty to districts like mine that have been waiting for years for new state grant funds to become eligible. Construction costs increase at a rate of roughly 6% annually, so every year that passes and school bonds aren't sold, our purchasing power as a district diminishes. The bottom line is we end up paying more and getting less. A reliable, brisk pace of school bond sales will help us get the very best value for the dollars the voters have chosen to invest in school campuses. we can honor the will of the voters and better serve our students if we speed the delivery of Proposition 51 funds for the years to come. Thank you.